This is the FANMADE Film Podcast.
Hi everyone, it's Rachel here and welcome to another episode of the FANMADE Film Podcast. Thank you very much for joining me for this great episode where I talk to Micheal Fitzgerald, who is the director, filmmaker and actor on a series, a Star Wars fan film series called Stormtroopers. Micheal is an Irish filmmaker and actor. He speaks a little bit about his time on Game of Thrones and his time on various sets as an extra, and about how he learnt about filmmaking during that time. So rather than being on set and waiting around for his bits, doing those and then leaving, actually asking people questions, talking to the crew and learning that way, which is an incredible testament to his curiosity and dedication to learning about all of the elements of filmmaking. So his short fan film, Stormtroopers, is going to be a kind of episodic series. They're working on episode 2 at the moment, and it's all filmed in these incredibly beautiful locations in Ireland, which Micheal talks a lot about the locations, how they found them, lots of funny stories about stormtroopers in caves. So I really hope you enjoy this episode, and I will see you at the end.
There he is! Stop him!
Random initiated.
Hi there.
Hello. How are you?
What an amazing background.
Yeah, it's actually a real look. Door moves.
It's amazing. Oh my god.
I love your studio. It's nice and pink, and I love the technical detail in the background.
Yeah,
it's gorgeous.
It's violently pink. I'm actually in my I'm a digital marketing manager for an agency in Brighton.
Yeah.
I'm in our office at the moment, and one of our brand colours is this very vibrant pink. So I was like, I'll use that.
I think it works because it's gorgeous. I love the dangerous looking shark in the background.
No, yeah, this is a memento from going on the Jaws ride at Universal Studios last year.
Fantastic. It's great. And I loved the Atari game wallpaper. It really kind of makes pink look technical. And that's the first time I've ever seen that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually. Yeah, it's it's like Lego, so you can just move the stuff around on it. Good fun.
Brilliant.
Yeah, whenever we have a bit of a break from the old computers, we have a good game of.
Well, I actually find the more texturous and the more say physical the background is, it actually comes alive in itself, and it doesn't actually have to be 100% human eye quality, because yourself on camera it smooths the edges. It's just having that little divot of light. It's gorgeous.
Just something interesting, not too distracting, but something interesting. The background's good. I've got my little TIE fighter as well there.
Oh cool. I've got a box of them outside. Filming in a volcano last year, and I brought a crew. It literally took us an hour to walk up to the top of the mountain, and there's a lake on top of the mountain, and we were filming for our next episode. And I literally have a Google Maps A0 size laminated map of where we were going to go and what angles we were going to shoot. And you have all these little micro machines, TIE fighters denoting what's happening,
Yeah.
So it all has a place.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. A volcano, did you say?
Well, technically it's a glacier lake, but it looks like a volcano.
Yeah.
And volcano sounds better for a story.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, glacier lake sounds pretty cool. We don't have many of those in the south of England, so that sounds pretty cool.
It was kind of funny, say we went up there, May last year, and we had a scout trooper with us, and these people spent an hour climbing up this mountain, and next thing there's this stormtrooper walking around, and people are going, what? It completely blew their minds.
That's amazing. So thank you very much, Micheal, for coming on the podcast and talking to me about Stormtroopers and what you've been doing. It's amazing. I'm really appreciative, and I'm really excited to ask you a couple of questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
Cool. So for the people who haven't seen Stormtroopers yet, could you introduce yourself, what you do, and what Stormtroopers is about?
Sure. I'm Micheal Fitzgerald, and I'm the director of Stormtroopers. Stormtroopers is a fan film about a platoon of stormtroopers that raid a remote rebel mining colony. So it's set in the Rogue One solo F4 era, and it looks at things from the stormtroopers' point of view. We try to approach it from a kind of band of brothers angle, like I suppose, what if things were different from their point of view? What if stormtroopers weren't the bad guys? So I started off about 3 years ago, and the first episode was a huge success.
Yeah.
Currently halfway through filming the next episode.
Yeah. And what was your kind of journey into filmmaking? How did you find yourself in that career?
Well, I always wanted to act, and I learned how to act at an Irish building site. Because in an Irish building site, you're always told, look busy. And if you can't look busy, look worried. And if you can't look worried, just point at something. So based on those skills, I got my first acting job in Home and Away about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. I was like a federal agent for a couple of weeks. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then I did lots of extra work in Game of Thrones and things like
wow.
Night Flyers and stuff.
That's
So
amazing.
just being on set and seeing how they did it kind of broke down the barriers, going, hey, we can do that. And this isn't a real castle. They only have it built from one side. We can do that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of applying all those life experiences. And I think we can learn by doing as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I guess like I've only been on set like a couple of times, but it is kind of amazing how you realize how made up everything is. Like I know that sounds kind of silly, but when you get on set, you're like, oh, they're really like this is all very fake, and you can start to see how you could potentially do it yourself.
No, absolutely. And it's kind of cool kind of see that, you don't have to have the complete world. You can have just angles in the world. And that got me thinking then about so many awesome locations in Ireland, like, underground caves, real space stations, glacial lakes, beachheads, which wouldn't be too far away from Game of Thrones with all the Targaryens coming ashore. So that got me thinking, well, what if they can achieve that by just filming this location from one angle? If I can use all these other locations and get my planning and my people and my storyboards right, we could literally set anything we want to set and achieve that for a film. So it's kind of using all that experience.
Yeah. And aside from Stormtroopers for now, what is your relationship like with Star Wars? So how did your interest or passion or fan?
Well, I love spaceships. Absolutely love spaceships. And I suppose things like Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica will inspire me to go study aerospace engineering. And then I suppose the technology really hasn't advanced so quickly where we're building intergalactic spaceships just yet. So I suppose making films about spaceships is the next best thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of use it in my own engineering career where if you can make it into a film, then you've actually pre-visualized it and you're learning all the lessons that you might learn if you were building it for real. So, and obviously Stormtroopers and Star Wars gives us kind of a romantic story. Like Star Wars is like a cowboys and Indians in space. It's a Western. So it has all that technical, interesting stuff, but it also has the characters which kind of bring you along and make it interesting. So I think with most stories, it's kind of characters set in any universe will be interesting if those characters are a journey and you can identify with them.
Yeah. Let's talk about your film. Stormtroopers was shot on a few different locations in Ireland with Irish actors and crew. What did you set out to achieve with the film?
I suppose what I wanted to do was obviously just make something believable. Make something that was of a sufficient quality where you could believe you were watching an angle in the Star Wars universe. We were very lucky. We had an awesome cast and crew. We had an actress, Karen Bracken, who was unbelievable in our audition tapes. and we cast her as our lead stormtrooper. Not because she was female, but because she was interesting. She had this face and this kind of, story that kind of really fed into the character,
Yeah.
And then we kind of had these locations in mind, and we had this one beach, which was like a tidal beach, so you could only shoot there, every couple of hours in a day.
Oh.
So it was like, right out, get all the gear, and everyone ran down to the beach and filmed. And next thing, tide's coming in, run! Back up off the beach. So it was kind of really guerrilla filmmaking, and obviously, we restricted the budget, but that was never going to be an excuse. We're always going to kind of use our, I suppose, hard work and our imagination and our ability to deliver to build the best thing we could. And we're proud of how it turned out. We learned a lot.
Yeah, it's so good. Like, especially at the beginning where it feels so tense. Like, you've really taken your time to build that like tense atmosphere, everybody kind of exchanging glances, the stormtroopers exchanging glances, like the young guy looking particularly nervous, and then your lead stormtrooper actress actually looks incredibly haunted, like she's very weary of all of the battle that she's seen and maybe the horrors that she's seen. It's all really, really tense. How did you go about creating that atmosphere?
Well, we did a lot of work on our location. So that location we filmed in, we researched it a lot. I also got some help because obviously it was my first time directing. So I was conscious of, that I needed help. So I had a great first assistant director, a guy called Stephen Rigney, who assistant directed on Game of Thrones, things like Night Flyers and the new series of Foundation. And I also had a really good cameraman called Matthew Currain, who's done lots of really high quality stuff for the Irish broadcaster RTE. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of confident with those two on site that they would kind of drive the quality, and I made sure that the people were there and the resources were there and the organisation was there. And in fairness, we talked through everything we wanted to do, but sometimes in that kind of collaborative effort, you kind of have to leave the baby go a little bit and give them control in that situation,
Yeah.
You've created a box, now let's go play in that box. So a lot of that was achieved because of their experience. But that was that was like our first day on set. It was like April's Fool's Day in a maritime college in Ireland. So the security guard just rocked up the site and there was like 10 stormtroopers hanging around. He thought it was an April Fool's joke. But no, the set was fantastic. And again, it's about kind of empowering talent. We have the idea and we have the hard work, but you can't do anything on your own. You have to bring people on board and you have to trust them. You have to give them that little bit of autonomy too. And we were very lucky that way, that we got it back in spades.
Yeah. How did you meet your assistant directors, and were they friends of yours like already, or did you meet them through Game of Thrones filming?
I actually got them through contacts on Game of Thrones, so I was kind of key, like I'm that, extra Game of Thrones who's dressed up as a knight, and standing in a night shoot like covered in snow. But there's a lot of directors and makeup crew and the like who work just as hard. So you could be on set and you can just eat and drink the coffee and go home and have a great story for the bar. Or you could be there, you could open your eyes and kind of go, oh, that's what they're doing and that's why they did that. And we're doing it again from 20 different angles. So I knew that if we were doing it from 20 different angles, we were doing too much, because that's Game of Thrones. That's $15 million an episode.
Yeah.
I'm running our shoot on the smell of an oily rag. So some people, I asked people, were you available? And if they weren't available, I was lucky they were able to suggest someone who was. And luckily enough, they came with some fantastic experience. But I suppose on this new episode, Stormtroopers, now we've continued that. So people have worked in the past, say as extras or as crew, we're bringing them on board. So like there's this one guy, for example, he played Wildling in Game of Thrones. Like, this guy is really cool, like absolutely mad fucker, like. But he looks great in camera. He's great. He's perfect. We filmed him and great. So sometimes it's about kind of giving someone else the leg up too, because you hope that will come back to you too in a karma sort of way.
Yeah. What did you learn about your kind of directing style? So from being really observant on the sets of things like Game of Thrones and other things that you've worked on, obviously being very observant and picking up, oh, they're doing that for that reason. What did you take from that in terms of, you know, understanding yourself as who you were going to be as a director?
I think, first of all, on the experience about listening and watching. Then when it comes to my own projects, I think it's just about being organised. Does everyone know what they're doing? Do we have a script that's thought through? Do we have a storyboard that's thought through? Do we have enough time in the day for the people to get prepared properly with hair and makeup? Do we have toilet facilities? First thing I said to people every day of shoot is that you have my permission to stop the shoot if in any way or circumstance you feel unsafe or uncomfortable. We'll stop, we'll take a time out, we'll rethink it, and we'll go again. So I really try to empower people. I try to give that a vision of what I'm looking for. I try to ear open for someone else's experience, what they might bring to it. But we do try to get through the filming too. So it's not as if we just sit down with a cup of coffee for 3 hours and go, oh no, light's running out, we better start filming. We have a plan. We have a plan, we work to the plan. And again, you have to realize if you have talented people on set, you try to make most of your skills and just get through filming. Because at the end of the day, filming can be really tough. It can be good getting through a lot of shots and you're only halfway through the shots and you're already exhausted. And you've been up all night the night before, with the adrenaline looking forward to the next day of filming. Because the filming day itself is the pinnacle of lots of work just to get to that point before you even turn on the camera.
Yeah.
So it's a slog, but it can be a good slog if you think it through in advance.
Yeah, and then extremely rewarding when you have the final product. Absolutely,
I suppose then in the post-production as well, there's people like Dog Day Media in Cork, and they would have done special effects and a lot of the post-editing. So you filmed it, and now you've got to put it all together, and you've got 10 beautiful takes of exactly the same moment, but you've got to kill 9 of those children.
Yeah.
You're like, can I not have both of them? No. Yeah. Then you have to make decisions, and then because obviously we have limited filming time, it's not as if we can go back and film it all again. We have to live what we have to live with, and then it's just it's like a jigsaw puzzle. You're piecing it together and going, is this believable? And then I suppose the critical thing then is, because we had special effects and VFX, at some point you actually have to lock it down and go, look, that's it, because once the guys start drawing the VFX, they really need that footage to be steady and signed off. Otherwise, they're going to have to do it all again to a new clip. So that's very important, again, about knowing when to leave go. I think most people, when they're making a film, it's not that you're ever finished, but at some point you just give up. And you go, there it is. That's it. I'm out of here.
I wash my hands of yeah.
So that's tricky. That is very tricky, you know. And then just having the patience as well of, making sure. I suppose what's very important to me is that every one of my projects gets paid as well. So no one's been asked to work for free. Because I think if you pay someone, first of all, they're there in time. Second of all, you actually get twice the value back.
Yeah.
Now, you don't have to be paying them a fortune, but it's nice to kind of empower professional people. Like we had this one girl, this hair and makeup girl. Brilliant. Honestly, you should see it. The extras turned up for the speech shoot, okay? A lot of these guys had never seen a camera before. To be honest, some hadn't even seen a shower, I'd say. But they rocked up. I know they were good. They were all friends and family and stuff, a lot of them. But this hair and makeup girl, basically, we wardrobe them up. They looked the part. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But on a day like that, you found how powerful the hair and makeup girl is, because once they go through the tent and she applies her magic to them, they physically come out as soldiers. It's amazing. You actually see the transformation, and these guys they've bought into it. Like, they're ready to stand around the beach for 6 hours for 10 minutes of action. Fair play to them, you know. That's pretty cool. And then she also did this really cool kind of battle scar blaster wound on a guy's face.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, that was one
That
of
was amazing.
yeah, so good. That was one of the moments that made me go, oh wow. One of the other ones was some of the VFX that you had. Was the moment the AT-AT kind of comes out of the water in between those two rocks, and the rebel or the local is like kind of watching, and the AT-AT just emerges from the water and walks in between. It looked so cool. It was like, and the shot of you had some really cool drone shots that kind of were punctuated throughout the film of the AT under the water, which was just really cool. How did you achieve those kind of shots? What kind of VFX kind of team and guys did you have working on those?
Yeah, well, I suppose our lead VFX artist was a guy called William Bean, who's pretty cool. This guy is really creative. He's also really good drone pilot. So it was pretty cool. I could kind of, he's flying while he's going to be drawing later, which was pretty cool. So you were able to kind of mind melt those two kind of points of view. With the AT-AT, I was just fascinated with the concept of an underwater AT-AT or all armored, all terrain armored transport. So we said, well, what if that terrain is underwater? And that kind of added to the kind of really claustrophobic effect as well. And we were trying to do something different. I think that for us, we were never going to be canon. We were never going to be, box ticked for everything. What we could do is be original, but in a consistent way. And then that underwater kind of added, as you said, to the tension. It helped us with that sort of Band of Brothers. Do you remember in Band of Brothers where they're all in the airplane and they're all ready to jump out on D-Day? That same effect,
Yeah.
So it was nice to combine all those influences.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments on the YouTube video about how it feels very true to life in terms of that combat feeling, that intensity beforehand, and the claustrophobia. So you obviously achieved that extremely well. And actually, I really like the fact that initially you don't know that they're in an AT-AT underwater, and that's kind of revealed as the beginning kind of goes on. You're like, oh my god, they're in there. And the drone shots are just absolutely, they're so beautiful. They're so with the waves coming in. You clearly had some like incredibly talented people working with you.
I could tell you a little secret though. That beach is where we used to go bush drinking as kids, but don't tell the police.
That's you were scouting for your locations before you.
Yeah, but how many times as kids or young adults, shall we say, and you're just living life and you're in somewhere cool and you go, oh, this would be a great place to do this or that. Well, I'm one of those idiots who comes back 10 years later and actually does it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I suppose, again, I think the location is almost as important as the actor. It's the character in themselves, and if you can put much effort into getting that right, you're a long way there to achieving that sort of universe envelope, But yeah, we were very happy how it turned out. We did utilize the local terrain. Like where we filmed that, there was actually a crane barge washed ashore in 1985. This thing is the size of a skyscraper, and it's washed on the rocks.
Wow.
So against cliff face. So we were very clever to film that from overhead. So that wreckage is actually real wreckage. But again, because that's real, it makes the stress on the VFX less because everything's real around it. So then only 10% is this little VFX image. Whereas the image is 100% VFX, there's a lot more time and cost to get that right. So I think if you get that balance right, you have a great chance of, doing the cool stuff, but making it believable with what's around it, sort of thing,
Yeah, because you don't want to overdo it, because people are so, I guess audiences are very used to seeing special effects now that if it's overdone or it's not used carefully and cleverly, it kind of brings you out of the kind of fantasy of the film that you're watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, look, there's loads of things on Stormtroopers that we've learned, and I suppose it is a learning vehicle. So there's lots of things we've learned. We're we're proud we did it. We've no regrets why we did it. But going on to the next episode now, we've learnt all that. So that's great because we're in shoots. We have that confidence of having done one. We have that confidence of knowing, well, we'll fix that in post, and we know why we're doing it that way, sort of thing. And we're also kind of, I suppose, storyboarding our assembly ends a lot more carefree, where we go, right, when the VFX comes into that, that's in balance with the flow. It's not the be all and end all. But still in all, like, you do want to be ambitious with your VFX, because that's I suppose that's the greatest way you can possibly connect and sell this new universe to your viewer, you know. So it's all I suppose being ambitious, but having that balance.
Yeah. When we spoke via the wonders of Instagram, you mentioned that your strategy was to make short episodes so that you had time and space to learn. So that's obviously happening a lot at the moment. What particular lessons have you learnt from the first production that you've kind of taken over specifically into what you're shooting now?
From a positive point of view, there's things that we did right. Again, like treating people with respect, having a safe environment to film, being organised, sort of thing, you know. Learning. So when we brought on someone who was experienced, say for example, Karen Bracken's a very experienced actor, I was able to learn from her in my own minor role, going, okay, you know, I can do this too, you know. And I suppose, again, it's kind of storyboarding things a little bit more detailing, having faith then your storyboard is achievable. Where sometimes past you might just settle for what you have. Now we're really pushing to try and capture things, you know. I suppose the biggest step up we've made since the last episode is that we actually have our own studio now.
Yeah.
I think you can see the full Marauder set behind me. So we literally have a full-scale spaceship. So this is part of the next episode. So again, it's about, if we join this episode to the last episode, it will make hopefully a very interesting continuity. But you could also watch each episode individually and not be lost what's going on. But there'll be enough there to hopefully pique your interest and keep watching.
How long did it take to make the set, the spaceship?
It took about 4 or 5 months. And then we kind of took some time off over Christmas just to build on some more. And then obviously COVID-19 hit. And that's where I got amazing haircut with curls and flowing locks. That's where 3 months without a barber gets you. So if we ever go filming hippies in space, I'm sorted.
You're hired. Yeah, it looks amazing. What I can see now, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing the next episode. But it's just a real testament to like the level of detail that filmmakers, you know, professional filmmakers will go to create something that they're super passionate about.
I suppose if someone's a budding writer, for example, I think one of the first pieces of advice they're given is write what you know. So if you want to make films about what you know. If what you know is romantic novels, if what you know is Star Wars, like start off making what you know. And then you find you have your universe set, and then you broaden what's in that universe and the characters in it, you know. Why I love fan films is that it really is its own industry. So maybe in the past you got like an action figure for Christmas, or you got a storybook, and then you use your imagination with the pictures in the book and the action figure to play out your own scene. But now we're doing exactly the same thing, but just on a bigger scale. And because obviously taking on like cameras and editing software, and I suppose it's now more acceptable an ability to create as well. So we can have our imagination, we can go in and do our 9 to 5 in our own time. We can make amazing films, and we can tell our own stories, and we can see things in a film or a TV universe from a different point of view. And hopefully then over time we can turn that into an original idea. So it's a great way for the moment just to develop film and keep learning and have fun.
Yeah, fun is important. Yeah, fun and learning, they're kind of the same thing sometimes.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there any apart from sort of the world of exploring the world of Stormtroopers, are there any other galaxies or fan worlds or inspiration that you have for other projects, or is it's really focused on Stormtroopers at the moment?
Oh, we've a number of projects. So I'm a big Star Galactica, but unfortunately they already had their fan film series follow up to it in the Roger Moore universe. He did a really great job. I think the Battlestar Galactica remake was an example of a soap opera in space. But I loved the original series as a kid. I thought was amazing. It was simple and say moralistic tales, and the bad guys, the Cylons, were really, really scary. And we have other stuff like we have an amazing country in Ireland, so it does lend itself to a Western landscape or a swords and sandals film, so to speak. We do have an original project in the pipeline, all right. It's called Moon Boots. And that's about lunar troopers on the moon. So again, it's kind of leveraging everything we're learning from Stormtroopers, going, well, what if this is on the moon instead? And we're designing our own wardrobe for that. And we'd be able to use a lot of our own VFX and skills and reconfigure our sets. So again, that's where we would really apply original learning to other ideas,
Yeah. What was the local kind of reaction to filming as well as the finished film? I understand I had a look at your website for Rogue Troopers, roguestormtroopers.com. It's a really great website. It's really nice to look at. I understand you had your kind of premiere in one of the locations. Is that right?
Yeah. So we filmed some of the scenes in a glacier cave 200 feet underground. This thing is millions of years old. So it was great. So we had, for example, the beach with the awesome cliff face, and the Stormtroopers go into one of the cave entrances, and next thing they're cut to this other location, which is like miles away. And it was cool. So there's water dripping from the ceiling. There is that kind of cool air. There's a cavern of stalactites and stalagmites. All this really fascinating stuff. So we were very fortunate in Midland Cave, our venue, and they're really nice people who run it. And they invited us to screen the premiere in the cave, and we went, what a great idea. I suppose that was an example too of maybe working with locations and the people you do and doing your best with them and cooperating with them. That, if you get asked back, then that's a great achievement. That was probably one of the best paybacks from making the film, was that people believed in it and wanted to be involved in taking it to the next level. So we had our premiere 200 feet underground. We had over 250 people seated. We had a huge inflatable cinema screen. We had projector. We had a guy on guitar playing music as people came in. People walk down with torches and stuff. And then we screened the film. And it's cool. They're watching the film and they're going through the cave in the film, and they're actually in that cave and they're feeling drops in their head. So it was like a 4D experience. You're feeling it and seeing it. So that really kind of added to it. We got some great photographs as well. So we made front page of the Irish Times and the Irish Examiner, and that was really cool. But that was amazing. It was really cool just to kind of, I suppose, just have that 4D experience, and we had a free bar and a free coffee van for people who were driving. So it was a good way to kind of, I suppose, thank cast, crew, family and friends and go, hey, we were making something cool. We weren't just, being weird. We were working on something cool.
Yeah, it's amazing. I think obviously with the coronavirus, but even way before that, I think cinemas and filmmakers were thinking about various different ways of screening films, and people are going to the cinema a bit less and less, and much less of recent, but it's interesting to think about those different ways people can experience film. So being able to watch a film in the location in which it was shot in such, that location is such an immersive literally immersive 200 feet underground kind of experience is really, really special and very, very unique. I hope people, I hope cinemas kind of start to branch out and kind of maybe put on more kind of immersive screenings like that of films. I think it might maybe reawaken people to going to the cinema a bit more.
I think so. Like, I'm a nerd. I love going to the cinema. There's nothing more I love than going to maybe a quieter showing on a Friday night and a box of popcorn, because I think it's a new meditation. Like, we're on our phones so much. Anywhere you go, even with your friends at the pub, there's distractions, whatever. That the cinema is one of those rare places you can go and is kind of, socially obligated to stay quiet, watch the film, stay off the phone, sort of thing. So you can actually physically time out. It's great.
Yeah.
But I do love the concept of screening in different places or new environments or new locations. So if you have the technology and it can travel, you can start.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest, one of the huge values of Mitchelstown Caves was we were screening outdoors in Ireland. So anywhere of an opportunity to go indoors kind of kept us safe from the rain. But yeah, so we're already kind of thinking about what we'll screen next time. We filmed on some really cool locations this time around. But yeah, we were very lucky with Mitchelstown Caves, and those people are brilliant. And if you ever get the chance, I would visit Mitchelstown Caves. Really cool.
Whereabouts are they? Because I've been to I've got a few friends who live in Tipperary, and I understand that was one of the areas that you filmed. Where are the caves?
It's not too far. So Mitchelstown would be not too far away from Cahir or Cashel in Tipperary. So one of the really cool experiences was when we were filming, we filmed after 5 o'clock, after the tour to the cave. We had like 5 or 6 hours filming, and about 10:30 at night, we're getting through the last scenes, and I was very lucky. I had another assistant director. Her name was Carolyn Tracy, another really cool director. So she was like keeping us on schedule and keeping us on the shoot. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing all these cool walls. I'm going, oh, let's get a shot against this wall. And she's like, well, you can have the shot against this wall or the gunshot scene. Which one do you want? We've only got time for one. So that's what I mean about listening to people who have the experience to go and look and living what you have. But the magic moment was around 10:30 at night. I turned around and there was all these kids in pajamas. So basically, word had got around the neighbourhood that there were stormtroopers in the cave, and all these kids just basically didn't have time to get dressed. They just literally came down in their pajamas, and they were like bystanders, like watching it all. Like, it was cool.
That's amazing. Kids in their pajamas watching the stormtroopers. I love
10:30 at night in a cave.
I love to. I'm loving visualizing what that must have been like. One kid running to the next kid's house and being like, "Mate, I've heard some rumors there's some stormtroopers in the caves. Let's go."
I know, it's amazing. And I suppose fan films as well. Like, I suppose a lot of people know, like, for example, cosplay is a huge industry at the moment. Like, so a lot of people might have their own stormtrooper gear. Other people might be very good at characters. For example, I've got one friend who does Wayward AF cosplay, and she has this Harley Quinn character, and she helps other people in their cosplay, presentations and the like. So the fan film isn't just people with a camera and the VFX or the hair and makeup, but it's actually that whole wardrobe and that whole, I suppose, conversion of a person into this character. And cosplayers like do that, month in, month out at different expos and Comic Cons and the like, So we're kind of utilizing all their skill sets as well, that they're bringing it from, say, the Comic Con floor into a fan film set. And these guys and girls have been doing it for years already, so they're actually coming in as experts. So we're trying to leverage that as well. So that was a huge plus as well.
Am I right in thinking you had the 501st Garrison with you filming?
Correct. So we were very lucky that a lot of the extras brought their own wardrobe, which was amazing. it was kind of cool too because you got who turned up. All these guys and girls are interesting in their own right. And I think sometimes with casting, not everybody gets to look like a local in Santa Monica. And you see a lot of that on screen. Where I think that Game of Thrones proved that like the more diverse and different people looked, the actual more believable it was, and it is. And that's kind of cool too. So sometimes you got to kind of work with what life gives you as well, and just appreciate that people have talents and they look a certain way, but it's actually really cool and really interesting. So that was fun. So I was really grateful, say, to the Irish 501st. And they really came on board early. And they came back. And I remember one day we were shooting like one of those beach advanced scenes, and we all had to line up in the water, like, and it was like a November Sunday, but it was like summer.
Oh.
But like one of the stormtroopers, like George, we wanted to get the line just right. So we're like, George, go deeper. And George is up to here in his stormtrooper gear in the water. Like, we're like, that's okay, George. Action. We walk up, so we all walk up on the beach, looking really cool, looking all like Saving Private Ryan. Fantastic. They say, cut. Okay, George, go deep again. We're going again. So poor George got soaked. But he did it. He absolutely stepped up to the plate. And they all did.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And I suppose that goes back to, treating people with a bit of respect and a bit of patience, no matter who they are on the film. Because you never know when you need them and when you're going to need them.
Yeah. And so how's filming going now on the second kind of installment?
Going great. We're halfway through. I suppose we're going at our own patience. So sometimes, if you don't have all the budget and resources initially, you just get your storyboard, get your scripts, get your people right, and then film what you can when you can. And then just other stuff getting prepared for when you're ready to film again. So we're halfway through. We've got some really cool outdoor stuff done. We've got some really cool location filming done. We've got some new characters. We've got this awesome bad boy new spaceship. There's a girl, actually. She's called the Marauder.
No.
So she's going to be pretty cool to film in. I suppose we just have to appreciate it, even with, say, winter, it was a chance to get all our lighting right. And even with COVID-19, it hasn't been a complete loss where we have to use that to maybe just work on our assembly edits and working on getting all our pieces in place for when we film next. And we'll also be doing that in a very responsible and social distance manner, because at the end of the day, we can't do anything if we can't do it safely.
Yeah.
But we will achieve. We're just patient. We'll achieve it because we know we've already got the quality. We know it's all there. It's something to look forward to. So yeah, fingers crossed. We'll be back on set soon.
Yeah. And Stormtroopers aren't known for like hugging and getting in people's personal space, so maybe it'll be easy.
Exactly, yeah. So look, I suppose we were making a film. You always wanted to be finished already. But I think the trick is to enjoy the journey, all these little challenges and problems, and you tackle them. And sometimes you're going to make a decision, go, do I want a red light or do I want a blue light? Oh, God, I can't decide. And then you decide, and then you move on.
Yeah.
But you move on because it was important to you to make the right decision. And then you made it, and you live with it, and you move on. And then there's another decision. Oh, no, white light or green light. I don't know. But you use that experience in the red and blue one to move on. So it's all good. It's all really cool. We've also used the time, say, to build up our props and stuff. And we've got another really cool location filming coming up, and we've got some really cool set furniture to go into it. It's going to be a really kind of climactic scene.
Wow.
So that's ready to go. And we were ready to go into it, but then COVID-19 hit, so I just pulled the brakes and said, look, let's just take a break. Let's just see it out. Hopefully we'll see you all safe and happy on the other side, and we'll go again.
Yeah, and some of the best cinematic outcomes have happened because people have faced some kind of setback and had to improvise. Like Steven Spielberg with Jaws is a good example. Their big mechanical shark sunk to the bottom of the sea, and they couldn't get it fixed for 4 weeks. and that led to us not seeing a shark until the very sort of climax of the film, which makes it scarier. So all of those things kind of, the best things happen. You have to be kind of resourceful and creative in those moments, don't you?
Yeah, you're right. And I suppose, and with, again, back to just trying and learning and trial and error, like learning by doing. I suppose if we have that time, okay, we could film the whole thing maybe in 3 or 4 weeks and go day on day and then be exhausted afterwards. But I suppose appreciating that we have, limited resources, if we have these little breaks in between to build up our resources for the next day in filming, that's also a good time just to kind of, first of all, enjoy it. So you're doing a filming day every so often. So it's like, yeah, we're filming, great. This is the pinnacle of our preparation. It really is a treat, like. And then you film and you have your cup of coffee and a nice breakfast the next day, and you think back what you learned, what you did right, what you did wrong. And because you're kind of pacing it, you've still got time to get it right, even if it's something that you missed. So it's pretty cool that way.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think you just got to appreciate, maybe see the positive in your circumstance, and maybe say, well, what if we have time in our hands that doesn't cost anything, so we can use that to think, prepare, and go again.
Yeah, and the energy that people bring to set as well. If you're just hammering away shot after shot, day after day, that no matter how professional and no matter how experienced you are, that is going to eke away at your energy, which for a production like yours, everyone needs a lot of energy, I guess.
Absolutely. Like I said, our energy is our biggest resource. If you think about it, like energy doesn't cost nothing, but it takes time to recharge. So that was kind of important, and because we're kind of, a lot of us are double jobbing as well. So not only am I one of the good-looking actors and going for like the rock star director look, I'm also the guy loading and driving the van. So you got to be careful at the end of the day when you're absolutely smashed tired.
Yeah,
you still have enough energy to load that van and get everyone home safely, So if you're doing that day after day after day, there's a huge risk something's going to go wrong. Whereas, again, if you can manage that energy and, and that enables a lot of people to give something like this a go, there's a great chance you're going to get it right. So I suppose at the end of the day, we always want to make the best film we possibly can. And just, I think in life, there's like this triangle that you can have something quick, cheap, or high quality, but you only ever can have two of the three. You can never have all three. So we don't have a lot of money, but we can have it high quality and we can take our time doing it. There's two of the three. So
yeah, that's a really, really good piece of advice for anybody planning on making their own film, I think. Or any film. Yeah.
Thank you.
So you've got, I think, just over 1 million views on YouTube now. Is that right?
Yeah, I only clicked on it 999,000 times myself.
That's a lot of dedication to
I
click.
know. All this time was meant to be working on the laptop.
So over 1 million views on YouTube, and the film was only was put on YouTube in 2018. So that's a really huge achievement. That's massive.
Thank you. What I'm really proud of too is that we have had a lot of comments, and we've been really proactive in engaging with all the comments, good and bad. So like where someone has a comment, we go, thank you, thanks very much. We made this film so we could, make some new friends and, open a dialogue. And sometimes you have negative comments, but then we try to take the time to explain, well, we did it this way because. And usually people just want to be listened to. So you actually kind of listen to what they have to say and give them a bit of dialogue from your point of view. Then you find actually people go, oh, I understand. And sometimes you go, yeah, we could have done that a little bit better. But thanks for pointing that out to us, and we'll make a note to do that better next time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of part of the learning experience as well as feedback. So it's really encouraging, really positive. Sometimes you have to have a thick skin. But yeah, it gives part of that learning process. So we're trying to, fast track filmmaking school, and this is one way of doing it,
Yeah, that's amazing. What do you think in terms of how many views you've had in a short time for, you know, a fan film released on YouTube. What do you think led to that amount of those amount of views? Did you have a kind of promotion plan or a little bit of a marketing plan behind it, or has it happened organically or a bit of both?
It was hugely organic. We were very lucky. We got to screen the film in film festivals like the Underground Cinema in Dublin, which is a fantastic indie monthly film screening. And they had the big awards at the end of the year, and we won Best Sound and Best VFX. And that was awesome. You're the best of all the young filmmakers in Ireland in that. We also spent a bit of time going to Dublin Comic Con, so we had a screening there and a panel, and all our cast turned up, and we had a full house. There was people queuing to get in to see it, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
I think this cosplay is a huge industry of its own. So like to get their support, that they wanted to be in the room to see something that was already online, that was huge. And then we're supposed to, again, we've tried to engage with fans on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. So when they have a point of view, like we will literally take 10 minutes out of our day every day just to reply. So I think that's kind of cool. Then there's a vibe goes out, hey, these guys are girls are approachable, and they want to have a chat about Star Wars or making films, whatever. Because obviously, if we can help someone else realize their dream, you never know. In 5 years' time, we could be going back to them, going, "Hey, do you want to go make a film, or do you want to go make a spaceship for real?" Sort of thing,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah, I'm pretty happy that it's word of mouth, and it's, I suppose because we had such a large cast and crew, they have lots of family and friends as well. So I think that helped as well.
Yeah.
But again, I suppose if we can do our best to make the best possible film we can in the first place, then it over time it has to go good. If it was just a film just having a laugh and stuff, that might be great in the short term. But I do think that the more time and effort you put into it to get it as best as you possibly could be at that particular point in time with whatever you had in your pocket or in the van at the time, that was our strategy.
Yeah. Awesome. And have you been in touch with anybody else who has made fan films, or have you seen any fan films out there that you particularly like?
Yeah, well, we were actually quite lucky. There was a person out there who actually did a fan film of our fan film, which was cool. They actually took the film and edited it in a different way and put other stuff into it. And it was really, they actually took the time and effort to make their own version of it, which was kind of awesome, really, And in fairness, they had one or two things they were right, it was pretty cool. Like, we just didn't have maybe the time and resources at the time, but that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think in terms of fan films, there's huge variety and quality of Star Wars fan films out there. I think they're the leading genre. Like and each one is fantastic production standards, and each one has an angle, and each one maybe has a leaning towards maybe original canon information. Some look at it from a different point of view, like we do. Some look at it from a traditional point of view. I remember a friend of mine, I did a Batman fan film in Perth in Australia. That was pretty cool. There was a few of them going around.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think again, it really is its own interesting genre. Like, and I think it's fantastic. I think there's got to be more in it. There's got to be more in it when people will, sacrifice the income, because technically with fan films you can't charge people to see it, and you can't sell it, like, so it's always going to be an investment of time. So therefore they're making the film for the right, I suppose, values of trying to make a good film, try to grow viewers, grow fans, grow an interest, as opposed to trying to charge them $20 for a ticket or whatever. So maybe that essence of that troubadour, the original kind of creator essence, is really there in a fan film. So yeah, it's cool. The fans themselves are the business, as the amount of money and time and effort they put into their presentations and the like. and there's a good community. It's fantastic for tourism, for example. But yeah, from a fan film point of view, like, it's giving us the best vehicle we could possibly have, where we get to make a cool film in a universe that already exists. And I suppose that's the main challenge with, say, a new film or an original story, is that, first of all, you have to create and build this world before a person watching your film can make the choice to believe in the story you're telling in that world. I suppose we're just taking a shortcut where, like, we don't have to introduce the Star Wars universe. People already know about it. So if we say our story in that universe, we're already past that first hurdle. People know. So we can go, that gives us a huge leg up, where we can go straight into characters and landscape and VFX without losing the person, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And my final question is, if you could direct or be involved with any film. I've been asking this question to a couple of people. I've been specifically saying any Star Wars film, but I guess any film from any era you could be involved with if you had access to a time machine. What film would you pick to be involved with, and why?
I think probably be Star Wars, or maybe something like the Battlestar Galactica TV series, or maybe the A-Team or Magnum PI, because I think those episodic TV shows were kind of what gave us kind of a lot of kind of grounding and cool story making and a moralistic outcome, and like cool special effects and interesting characters, so to speak. I think, for example, if you look at something like The Mandalorian is fantastic. That's technically a fan film. You know, that's someone reimagining Star Wars with all the existing architecture and characters that we knew, and giving you their fan film view of the world, and that's turned out fantastic. So as much as we're doing our thing, I think maybe at a higher level they're doing their thing.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of inspiration out there. There really is.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh, well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and talking to me. I really,
you're welcome.
It's been so much fun. And we'll have to chat again when the second episode is out, and find out all.
I think so. Well, the other thing is, obviously, we've got this cool studios and film set now, and I suppose at some point we'll be either filming in it again or finished filming. So you're more than welcome to broadcast from here if once the travel restrictions lift and the 2 weeks quarantine isn't too much of a stretch, or it's not needed anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as much as we appreciate you kind of giving us a platform and encouraging us, we totally want to return that favour, because I suppose a rising tide floats all boats.
Exactly, yeah. Well, that would be amazing, just to do like a live episode, maybe chat to some of the actors and the crew as well. That would be brilliant.
I think so too, and I think it's cool to have, say, someone from outside our immediate group too, because obviously we're running around and we're trying to do the best we can, and sometimes having that person who's removed, for example, like a photographer, to take stills on the day, because they see things when they've got a different job. So having someone there to get the stories, maybe see things from I suppose a life and a personality point of view, as much as you're running around like a crazy ass person trying to get everything done, the cool thing is you get to look in hindsight at how their day went. You know, like, you didn't have time in the day to go, hiya, how are you doing, buddy? You know, because you're flying around, getting stuff in the van, and then trying to put on your costume and then remember your lines and give a direction and sort of thing. That all that behind the scenes go, oh, so that's what they were doing in the shed the whole time, sort of thing, you know. And that just adds to the magic of it, I think.
Yeah, that movie magic.
You think so?
Yeah.
And I think, you know, there's no learning like self-learning. If you look someone like Noel Gallagher, like they're all self-taught, or they just went through years of trialing and erroring. And at some point you're bound to get it right, you know?
Yeah.
But even like at the moment, I think we've had like a great chat about films, and we've a great chat about, you know, our shared ambitions and the like. So again, I think once we keep the communication lines open, that's the trick. And don't be afraid to put something out there and let it roll. So again, like the film, some stage it's done. Let it roll. Let it ride the wave. See how it gets on, and then if you're lucky, if it's high quality, yeah, you'll be okay. But all the while you're learning from feedback and the like, and then the easiest solution to all that feedback is then to go do another one, and then hopefully, you know, a lot more interesting stories come your way, and then you get the fulfillment that you want from telling the stories that you see and the like. So again, just I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you
Today
very
was cool. It was really,
Yeah,
really
it's
cool.
really, really good fun, and we'll keep in touch, and I'd love to know how filming goes, and then maybe come and visit and see the set and all of that stuff. And
that invitation's a real invitation. It's not one of those makeup invitations that never happens. That's a real invitation.
that would be great. Yeah, well, let's keep in touch, and thank you very much again, Micheal, for speaking to me and giving me your time today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Best of luck.
You too. Thank you very much. Take care. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Huge thanks to Micheal for his time and for his great stories, and for inviting me onto the set of Stormtroopers. Future episodes I'm very excited about. Hopefully getting a plane over to anywhere right now, but a plane over to Ireland and seeing the set of the spaceship Marauder, and visiting some of those beautiful locations that they are shooting Stormtroopers in. Next week is a very special week because I'm going to be releasing the last 2 episodes of season 1 of the FANMADE Film Podcast. And these episodes include a conversation with Arya Moghadan, who's an LA-based film director, and he made his short fan film, Star Wars Destroyer, a couple of years ago, and it's a really punchy, great, powerful piece of Star Wars fandom. And also in my special bonus episode, I'll be talking to Natasha Coppola-Shalom and Tim Hines, who both work in Hollywood as an actor and director respectively, about their miniseries Chrome, which is available on Amazon Prime, and about Natasha's very famous Coppola filmmaking, acting family and heritage. And that's a great conversation about diversity in Hollywood, feminism in film, and that kind of stuff. Something that's obviously very close to my heart. And make sure you don't miss those by subscribing to the YouTube channel and by following on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to find all of the information about all of the episodes, all of the interviewees, all of the filmmakers, and our social channels, you can head to fanmadefilmpodcast.com. And you can also email me any feedback, suggestions, or links to fan films you've either made or really love on fanmadefilmpodcast@gmail.com. But until next week, may the Force be with you.
Call for reinforcements.
This is the FANMADE Film Podcast.